If you've been enjoying R4E, the Reason for Everything podcast, please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on all platforms or wherever you get your podcasts. I was just telling Cody before we started filming here, I first came across his empire in, I guess probably 2 or 3 years ago through the Chug Bud, which I have my OG model of it here. Huge fan of it and that tool. And I quickly realized, all the other amazing businesses that you've built. When I was, over the last few years thinking about what I want to do with my career, serial entrepreneurship and a bunch of different ways is what I was interested in. But you always hear, stick to one thing, get really good at it, and don't try to spread yourself too thin. And then when I came across, you and your, like I said, empire, there's just a ton of cool businesses that you're doing that some of them are related, some of them aren't. But all that said, really excited to learn more about you and your journey from a small town in Montana. And I'd love to give you a chance to, one, introduce yourself to my audience, and then learn a little bit more about your journey from Montana to millions, if you will.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on. I'm starting to do a little more podcasts and be a little more open and not so in my cocoon of filming my own stuff. That helps get some generated content out there, because I know some people want to ask questions and learn a little bit more about different intricacies of the businesses and whatnot. But yeah, I'm from a tiny town of Montana. It's called Maxville. There's about 30 or 40 people probably. It's about an hour east of Missoula. I played college football there. And just kind of fast forward a little bit, when I dropped out of college, I went over and worked in the oil fields and did that for about a year. And my dad, my family, they're loggers, and we had a sawmill, and my dad had a bunch of machinery and equipment. And I just kind of networked and built some contacts there and talked my dad into coming over there, stopped logging, and we started an oil company. So we transported crude oil all over the country. From North Dakota is where we started, to Colorado, Oklahoma, Texas, and we just kind of bounced around a little bit for that. I was doing that for about six and a half years. And I was living in Austin at the time, and we were hauling a little bit north of Houston. They asked us, the oil contracts just kind of run out over time. And they asked me to go back to Colorado, and I didn't want to do that anymore. So because when you're working out there, half the time, obviously, I'm living at my place in Austin. It's nice, and I get some time off. But when I'm not, I'd be living in, like in a camper for, a couple weeks. So you're doing a lot of driving and running machinery. And even when I wasn't driving, if a truck broke down in the middle of the night, 2, 3 in the morning on the highway, I'd have to get up and go out and help them fix it. And unfortunately for us, none of our equipment was ever very new, so we all of our stuff broke down quite a bit. But I learned a lot, and my dad's been a business owner since he didn't even finish 8th grade. I don't think he dropped out of school then, and he started running his business, and things were a little different back then, but probably doing things that he shouldn't have been doing at an early age. But he taught me a lot of things, just about business, and a lot of my families are entrepreneurs. And I decided to move back to Scottsdale after that oil contract finished. And he went back to Colorado, did that for a couple more years. Now he's running the county in Montana, kind of the area that we grew up in. But I went back to Arizona, and I've always been into health and fitness and just the healthy lifestyle, working out, eating clean, very active, love being outside, golfing, etc. And I started a meal prep company out of my apartment and did everything illegally, pretty much. I didn't have any, kitchen licenses. I wasn't a chef, but I had some friends that played for the Arizona Cardinals at the time, and I started cooking them meals, and some guys from the team started coming on, and I would go to, gyms on Saturday mornings, and I'd tape flyers to car windows, and just to kind of let people know kind of the guerrilla marketing approach, if you will. So I did that for a couple years, and simultaneously while I was doing that, I got into the cannabis and CBD space. I always had a hard time sleeping, and cannabis I would take at night. It would help me sleep. And while I was making cannabis products for a brand called Cushly, I noticed that there's the trend in CBD was dramatically increasing a lot faster than the THC side of things, just because you're so regulated on, not being able to ship across state lines. And so I went full in on CBD. I was one of the first guys that started the CBD brand in 2015 and shipping products all over the country. And we grew to one of the biggest CBD brands in the world. It's still the second largest today. So I built that, grew it, sold it. I have a handful of other businesses as well, a couple of apparel companies. I have an electrolyte company that I started 2 years ago. And a little bit along the lines of that, we started it, had some problems with the manufacturer, came up with a really good formula, and we decided to put that on pause. And the reason, we just didn't trust the manufacturer. They were supposed to have tear notches, and we didn't get tear notches, and just a lot of little things that we weren't really happy with, and I didn't want to, put it out in the marketplace and that be the finished product or something that, put the name behind and really stand behind it. So last year, we spent the whole year reverse engineering all of the competitors' formulas in the space. Liquid IV, drip drop, LMNT, hydrant, you name them. We went, researched all of them, dug through everything that they had in theirs, and were not impressed whatsoever. So the reason why we started this is because I'm very active. I'm outdoors a lot. I golf. I'm drinking these hydration products, and none of them are good for you. So liquid IV and drip drop, they have 70%. 70% of the stick is sugar. So, and it's crazy that a lot of people drink this stuff, and they had me fooled too, thinking that it's something good for you. But when you really dive into it, it's not. So we came up with pretty much a super hydration formula and SKUs that we had one of the top regenerative doctors in the country help us go through and approve all the formulations, flavor profiles. And we went back and forth with the food scientists and people that are a lot smarter than me on helping us formulate everything and putting everything in there that, was really beneficial for your body. So when it's all said and done, our hydration products, we have a hydration in 4 flavors. We have a hydration energy, a hydration immunity, a hydration sleep. And we don't even have a competition for this product because nobody's ever done it before, but we put electrolytes plus greens into a stick pack. So it has 1,200 milligrams of electrolytes, 28 superfoods, your pre-probiotics, digestive enzymes, vitamins and minerals. And so pretty innovative on that front for us, creating a brand new category that nobody's ever done before. And I expect to see, some other people probably replicate it and, try to jump on that train. But we were first to market there with that. And it's the best greens that I've ever tasted. We went through, obviously, same thing, reverse engineered all the formulas and the competitors in the space. And I've always tried them, couldn't stick with them because they would just be too thick, too chalky tasting. So we really did a good job going through and formulating everything. So all the flavor profiles aren't too sweet. It's like smooth, it's refreshing. The greens is, I'm terrible at eating vegetables, so I wanted to really have something that, I would take every day. And I really stand by all of our products. I mean, big difference between us and a lot of the other people in the space is we have 1,300 milligrams of electrolytes. Some guys have, there's a couple companies out there that have like 1,500, but 1,000 milligrams of that is sodium. So we have a perfect ratio of electrolytes. So we're not putting, a bunch of potassium or a bunch of sodium in it. And our magnesium actually comes from Aquaman. And we're the only electrolyte company to have Aquaman in our products. And Aquaman is the most bioavailable part of magnesium that you can put into your body.
Wicked, man. And that's SkyMD for those who are unfamiliar. There's so much of that I want to learn more about and follow that through line further. But the common thread across most, if not all of your businesses in one way, shape, or form is health and wellness. And you started off the story talking about your college football career and, a constantly active lifestyle. Let me start there. You dropped out of school. You got into the oil space. When you were driving around and fulfilling those contracts, similar but different to, a lot of people in their 20s that are in a more, traditional corporate 9-to-5 job that are traveling around for work, trying to balance health and wellness and, a strict work schedule. How'd you balance working out, staying fit, eating healthy when you were on the road all that time, just to get us started here?
Yeah, man. So that when you're on the road all the time, it's tough. I mean, you're driving semis, you're waking up 3, 4 in the morning, and you're on the road. A lot of times I would get lucky and I would, go through a small town or something, and I would just stop and, hit a 45-minute hour workout, shower quick, change, get back in the truck. And that was, kind of my life for a long time. Or by the time I would get done in the day, I mean, there's a lot of times I was working out at 10 p.m. and not a lot of sleep, but just dedication on, trying to make time. It's a lot different now. I mean, I think, that's some of the hardest work that, I've ever had to do. And, growing up just in, running machinery, my grandparents owning a sawmill, working on a farm, stuff like that just kind of paved my way to really see what hard work actually is. And I still work really hard now today. I mean, I wake up at 5 every day. I do cardio at 5:30. I I steam, meditate, journal, and read. That's how my morning goes every single day. For the first 2 hours of my day, 2.5 hours of my day, that's what it is. And then I'll work for a little bit, and then I go work out again for an hour between 8:30 and 9:30, and then I come home, shower, and then I work the rest of the day. But and that's just the same thing. I'm pretty boring. I eat the same things. My girlfriend makes fun of me because I'm pretty boring and don't want to try new places or anything. But I like what I like, and that's just kind of how it is. But I just really big creature of habit on things that I do, and I think that if you kind of mold these habits into your life and what you do every single day, that turns into long life habits that you can kind of carry on with you.
Yeah, you're preaching to the choir in terms of, habits and rituals as it relates, especially to food. I'm in the same boat. You look at my fridge and I have my meals prepped. I can do the same thing every day and have no complaints. I'd be, the happiest guy alive. And yeah, you're preaching to the choir there. But to that end, you're doing the meal delivery or the meal subscription service for your friends with the Cardinals. That business is growing in scale. And you mentioned, going guerrilla marketing style, gym to gym, leaving those flyers, that real kind of entrepreneurial grit, like you said, it's deep rooted in you and your family from the farms and the mills. What was the next entrepreneurial venture after the meals company, and how did that, wrap up?
Yeah, so simultaneously when I was doing the meals, I mean, we started off, 10 meals a week, 15, 20, 10, and I got it up to, a couple thousand meals a week, a couple different retail locations. And, I was a little younger and dumb. I got a DUI. I would have to walk back and forth from my condo to my retail location. I had to do that for a couple months. And I would from the kitchen was separate from that. Once I finally was able to afford one and not cook out of my apartment, because I made a lot of good money in the oil field, but I took, I think I took 3 or 6 months off. I can't really remember, but when I moved back to Arizona and I was dumb and partied and, spent almost all of it and was an idiot. So lesson learned there, and kind of got myself in a hole and just, looking back, I was like, man, I went through a lot of hell, kind of to just build that. And I was having to Uber meals from the kitchen where the chefs were cooking them to the store because I couldn't drive. And so just pretty remarkable how I could make that pencil and grow. And I was bartending at night to help fund the business. So, I'd get to the store at 7, 8 in the morning and 7 or 8 p.m., go home, eat, shower, and then I would go start bartending at, 10 o'clock. And then I would do that a lot. So, but simultaneously I started the THC products, but the CBD Purcana really took off in 2016, and pretty quickly thereafter, that's what I was doing full time there for the next couple of years.
Now, what was that like for you? To your point, that was really when, CBD started, or yeah, really it was so taboo then. It still is to some people to this day. But what was that like for you? What was the actual like day to day like for you when you were getting that business up and running and really kind of trying to normalize CBD? Like you said, it helped you with your sleep
Yeah.
and your
So
journey. But what was it like for you?
so I mean, it was actually pretty challenging just because, all my family and everything is from Montana, right? And they're all very blue collar. Like they drink beers. That's about it. I mean, there's no drugs. There's no bullshit like that. And them not knowing or knowledgeable about kind of, what's going on, they thought that, I'm out here just, selling weed on the street kind of thing. So that was a little bit challenging initially. And, before they got educated enough to realize like, oh, okay, like this stuff does work and help. And then, eventually became supporters of it. And then they eventually became my biggest fans, and kind of the narrative changed to more along the lines of, how'd you do it versus, why are you doing it? And that was a big turning point and pivotal moment. Just, always working, with my dad and stuff like that. And Body Fuel, that was a meal prep company. It was successful, but it was proof to me that, things that I was doing and the hard work was paying off and that I could do it. And no matter what, and that just kind of build confidence on, all right, if you build something if I was to build something, that I can make it work. And that helped a lot. It wasn't obviously overnight. It took, a long time of doing and hard work and dedication to the craft and just the products that we were making to, make it successful.
Was there a aha or I made it moment with Puricana that you were able to, you can look back on today and just remember that moment or that day or what have you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I've never really had a aha moment of really like I've made it. I think, I mean, when we sold the company, it was valued at 90 million, and I just never, I don't think that I'll ever be the guy that just sits and does nothing. So,
Yeah.
it was kind of just on to the next thing for me, really. And obviously, proud of what we built and stuff. And I don't really know even today, a lot of people think, that, I'm one of the pioneers in that space, right? So, and that really doesn't strike me or hit me, or I don't think really necessarily think of myself that way. But, we were definitely at the forefront of the industry, and definitely had one of the most popular brands. I mean, I had half of the UFC fighters, repping my products for a long time. So, it's something that's super cool, obviously, and that I liked and enjoyed, and I had a good time with it. And I'm just trying to replicate that now with SkyMD. And I think, my goal for that is just, it's even, I could never really market, the CBD brand on, your traditional marketing. I couldn't run Facebook
Yeah.
ads. I couldn't, none of that stuff. So, I had to focus more on a different approach of, the SEO side of things, and get a partner that was really good at that, and to help push and drive traffic to the sale. I mean, for the longest time there, if you typed in CBD on Google, Puricana was the very first one, and
So cool.
which is crazy. And that's, just testament of, people around of us and the product that we had and the return customer base, and I think doing things the right way.
You mentioned something there around how you don't think you're the type of guy that's ever going to be able to, sit still, even after, your company was valued at 90 mil. I've had so many entrepreneurs on this show who've sold companies for, millions and millions upon millions of dollars. And they always say it's always the same theme. It's, hey, even if I sell or whatever, I'm not going to sit on a beach idle while these ideas come to you. And so between Puricana and SkyMD, there are a couple of other ventures that are still going to this day. Like we talked about Chug Bud. I've got some off-season shorts in my closet, which I love. Get me up to speed. So you exited that business. Did you jump right into SkyMD? I know you said you guys spun it up and put it on pause last year, but what went on between the exit from Puricana to today?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was, I also have Cactus, which is a golf apparel company, and it was really just R&D, really trying to develop the product, get the packaging right. We did a complete rebrand. I mean, it's like, I don't even we started this a little over 2 years ago, and I don't really even consider that first launch was, really uh, when I started the brand. We relaunched it middle of November of last year. So, I mean, I'm pretty much marking that as when we actually launched the brand. Uh, just because it's just everything's so much better. I mean, obviously the work, the previous couple years went into it and learned a lot and changed, a bunch of different things. And coming up with a product, like this, that's just, gummies or something like that is pretty easy for me. I can literally do it overnight. But when you're coming up with like a nutraceutical product where there's, just a bunch of different ingredients and you're dealing with the FDA and the process and legalities and, when it comes to a consumable of like how you want it to taste, the aftertaste, the effectiveness, it's just an entirely different beast that going into it, I didn't really plan or expect for, to be honest. And it was just, it was a big learning curve for us. And, I wouldn't trade it for anything. I'm glad that we, went through it and, we spent a long time just developing and building, the website and the email flows and trying to get everything pretty much perfect before launch. I mean, if I, we've never launched a company that's been as buttoned up as SkyMD from front to back as it is this time. If people had no idea and that we didn't launch, last November, they would think that it's a 100 million plus company.
When you were growing up in a town of 50 or so people, did you ever think you were going to be having to deal with the FDA and figuring out electrolyte formulas and combinations there?
Nah, I thought I was going to be a logger for the rest of my life and take over my dad's business and go that route and just be a trucker and deal with that kind of stuff. So I mean, it's completely different, man. It's when I was doing all that blue collar work, right? I mean, obviously, I still work really hard now, but that kind of really molded me into kind of who I am now because I'm great. I'm very grateful and fortunate for those times, but I don't ever want to have to go back to that. So
Yeah.
being able to, work from home in my home office and kind of make my own schedule and I can travel. And one of my big goals was when I stopped doing that is I wanted to be able to work anywhere with just a Wi-Fi connection for my phone. I wasn't married to I didn't have to go into an office and do any of that stuff. And I mean, I tried some other odds and end jobs, here and there that, sales jobs that I was good at, but I, I was not a good employee, to be honest. So there was only one path for me pretty much. And that's kind of, on my own terms.
In building these businesses, it sounds like you have a good connection with your family of entrepreneurs in their own right. Who's your business mentor? Who do you look up to? Maybe one who you might not have connectivity with. Like, who do you think is just an amazing operator or an amazing business person who you'd love to pick their brain? And on the other end of that, if you're having a pinch on a business day, who do you reach out to in your network to lean on to, ask for advice?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm fortunate enough to have, you know, a handful of good friends that are obviously really successful in business, but I'm also lucky to have people, if it's, in crypto or if it, it was in, cannabis CBD, I'd have experts in kind of different areas of friends that have been very successful in different niches of their own, right? And challenges that, I was seeing that I needed to overcome. I have, you know, I'm in a couple groups. Like I have a business coach, that I talk to once a week for an hour. I go to therapy. Like I said, I meditate, I journal. So I kind of have a bunch of these pieces around me to kind of keep me level headed and not get too high, not get too low. But I watch, just a lot of content. I've met Gary a couple times and I've got to pick his brain a little bit, which is not, very common for the normal person. And
You're talking about Gary. Are you talking about Gary V?
yeah,
That's crazy.
and one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But I watch a lot of stuff. I watch Hermosi. I consume some content on YouTube of
Yeah.
people that are doing what I aspire and dream to do and to be.
I love it, man. You mentioned, watching YouTube. I know you're a big golfer. You're running all these businesses. It sounds like your morning routine's really down pat. You have a good cadence for your work schedule. To your point, you're working very hard now in a different fashion to when you were in oil or, logging. But what do you do in your downtime besides golf? And it sounds like you spend some time with your girlfriend and having your regular meals. But what's it look like when you're just trying to decompress and chill out a bit?
Yeah, man. So I'm a diehard sports fan. So big 49ers fan. Obviously, I lost a couple years in my life this last weekend, but that Packers game kind of had me in a trance. But between that and golf and working out, man, I'm a homebody really. I don't really go out much at all anymore or do anything. If I do anything with my buddies, they just kind of just come over to my house and we hang out here. And I got a simulator and a big backyard and a pool and stuff. So we just hang out here. I don't really do much. And if I travel, I travel with Morgan, my girlfriend, and that's really about it. And I travel a lot more in the summers. So in the winters, I'm pretty much just hunkered down. I cut off pretty much all travel and focused. I mean, working most of the time, but I definitely like to spend my free time golfing for sure.
I love it. Where's the favorite place you played?
Man, I've been kind of spoiled, but a buddy of mine owns a course out in Indiana called Victoria National, which is they play some Corn Ferry events out there, and they have
Yeah.
a stay and play, so they pretty much have cabins on the property, and you're in the
Yep.
middle of nowhere, and it's just you and the boys, and um, in the morning the chefs come and they bring you the food for breakfast and then lunch and then same thing for dinner, and you're just out there on the golf course morning till night and swinging as much as you possibly can till your back hurts, I guess.
Not many better ways to spend a day. And you mentioned the Niners. As a quick tangent, have you seen that video of McCaffrey playing piano on stage at Red Rocks with Zach Bryan before?
No, I haven't actually.
I'll text you the link to it after this. It's out of this world. Zach Bryan's playing what is it? It's All Night Revival. Is that the song? I don't know. I think it's All Night Revival, but nonetheless, he's or Old Time Revival. But he's singing his song, and then he has McCaffrey on stage at Red Rocks playing the piano part of the song. It's out of this world.
That's sick. I like that.
Now, as we round out here, one of the other ventures that we haven't talked about is your current spirits brand. You've had the Chug Bud, which is an accessory, but tell me about is it Los Magos? Is that right?
Yeah, so Los Magos, I'm just very passive investor on that. My buddy owns it, runs it, and they asked me to come in, so I'm a pretty silent partner on that. I can't speak intelligently enough on it, really, because a lot of people are confused because it's a complete new category. It's not tequila, it's Sotol, and it comes from a completely different plant, and it's kind of tough to explain, to be honest, but we are gaining some tractions. We're in some Astros and some hotels and stuff around the country, so that's good to see, and that's really the first company that normally I don't put my money in the stock market. I don't do any of that really. I don't, and I only invest in businesses normally that I run or that I really kind of have my hand in the day to day. So that was the first time that I've actually ever done something like that. So it's a little different for me, to kind of just take a backseat approach to that and kind of let them do what they do. I do have a new company that I've been working on that I'm launching in 2 weeks. It's a sleep company. It's called
Okay.
MyRem. So
Nice.
I don't know if you've heard of hostage tape or not, but it's mouth tape,
Yeah, of
no
course.
strips, and magnesium glycinate. So we made the mouth strips a little bit better. They're made out of synthetic silk and bamboo, so they stick a little bit better. I tried hostage tapes, and they kind of, I don't know, maybe if I just have an oily face or something, but my business partner and I, they were peeling off and stuff. So we're like, there's not really that many competitors in the space, and I think that I'm a pretty decent marketer. So we decided to come up with that, and so the mouth tape, no strips, and magnesium glycinate for sleep. And kind of what we found just through research, if you tape your mouth shut with a no strip, you can get up to 32% more oxygen into your brain. So it'll help you fall asleep faster and stay in REM sleep longer.
That's wicked. Do you use any of the, wearable fitness monitors? I'm a big fan of my Whoop band, and I know people wear the Aura Ring, but are you into any of that stuff?
Yeah, I had the Whoop for a little while, and I hate having stuff in my hands when I sleep. But I have a Tempur-Pedic bed, so it tells me all the stuff that the Whoop does.
Nice. Well, hey, a couple other round robin questions for you as we wrap up here. One of the other ways that I've seen your business ventures on my feed is through the Cactus Hat Golf Company. Your apparel is wicked there. It's a very unique, I love the old style Titleist, FJ, old school golf, but all the new brand, I think really kind of starting with like G4 and the new wave of golf over the last, call it 5 or 6 years. I think the Barstool guys at Foreplay have done a great job of rebranding golf to not just like, an old white guy sport. And I think you guys have done a great job with that at Cactus Hack as well. And, I've seen Johnny post a ton about your all's content. He had the obviously collaborative line with you guys probably 6 months ago or so. But how did you guys first get plugged in, and what's that been like being so close to someone like Johnny?
Yeah, Johnny's been like my son, to be honest, for the last 4 or 5 years. He actually came to one of my Super Bowl parties randomly with some friends, and we met there and were inseparable for a couple years. And we brought him on, and we're about to launch 8 new polos and a bunch of T-shirts actually in a week. We actually just filmed last Saturday to our first episode, so for YouTube. So we're going to do a YouTube golf channel, just like Good, Foreplay, all those guys. So Johnny and I are actually playing Wednesday, February 7th, in the Good live golf tournament. So it's going to be live streaming on Peacock. So if you want to come there and watch me hack it around, you're more than welcome to.
I love it. Yeah, I'll plug that in the show notes here. And then last question for you. You've got your incredible display of shoes in the background there. You have one pair you got to wear for the rest of your life. What are you gonna be repping?
Oh man, it's got to be a pair of Dunks.
Yeah. Which colorway? You going classic with the pandas, or what are you ripping?
No, probably just all whites, to be honest. Yeah, if I had one pair, they probably probably not a good choice since they'd all be white, but
they'll stay clean. That's part of the caveat. Maybe they'll stay clean and not get
all. They stay clean. You got to go all white always.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, Cody, maybe one last one for you. What maybe standalone piece of advice would you give for an entrepreneur or someone thinking about getting a business started? You've done it time and time again successfully. You talked about your trials and tribulations. You've leaned on your old experiences as, on the blue collar side of it, and you've seen the other side of it too with successful exits. What would be a, standalone piece of advice you'd give to someone maybe in your shoes a decade ago?
Yeah, man, you got to do something that you're passionate about, that you like, that craves your attention, that, I see a lot of people all the time trying to start businesses just because they're hot or because, it might be interesting to them for, a month or two. But I really go back to kind of core values on things that garner my attention just in everyday life that you can turn and spin and make a business out of. A lot of people have family members, friends, spouses, coworkers, in their ears as well. Too many people listen to, what other people think that, haven't done shit. So just being, true and honest and believing in yourself and coming up with a routine of consistently getting things done that you want to get done every day, building that business or, that dream that you call and have aspirations to do is, kind of the key for me. I didn't listen to any noise even going on. Some of it was from my dad, which was tough, but I just kind of kept my nose to the grindstone. And as time passes, you just kind of get stuck in, your ways every single day and how you move and shake and your routine. And next thing you know, days turn into months and, months turn into years. And then you're at a completely different lens of, where you started.
I love that point on find something that craves your attention. I haven't heard that before. That's really good.
Yeah.
Well, Cody, I really appreciate your time. As anyone listening can tell, you're a busy guy, and I'm grateful that you jumped on today. Like I said, I'll be out in Arizona later this year. Would love to link up in person, and really appreciate you making time and coming on the pod today.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me on. Thanks everybody for listening, and yeah, make sure you definitely let me know when you're here.